Well, hello and welcome to Junk to Jewels podcast with Georgette. Beck, I'm so excited you're listening or watching today. And I just want to remind you, if you had not grabbed a copy of the Junk to Jewels book yet, it's available on Amazon. And I appreciate those reviews. I'm so excited today to welcome our guest, Michelle Gruening. She has a fabulous story to share with you today, but let me introduce her to you. So Michelle is from a small town in South Carolina to the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro. I wanted to make sure I pronounced it right, and I asked ahead of time, but Mount Kilimanjaro. I'm messing it up, Michelle. You're going to have
That's okay.
So Michelle is a living example of what happens when you stop making excuses and start taking action. I love that. Through 20 years in leadership roles across several industries, from Disney's FairyTale Weddings to scaling a global software company, she discovered that professional success doesn't always equal personal fulfillment. Michelle is the coach whose approach is rooted in tough love and helps people break their own limitations, drop the BS, and create radical clarity on how they want to live their life. So welcome to the show, Michelle. Let's dive right in. How are you?
Hi, Georgette. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I'm doing fantastic. I live out in Colorado now, and the sun is shining. It's a beautiful summer day, so I'm super glad to be here.
Oh, that's excellent. And I had the blessing of meeting you at a mutual place of where all people who have hearts to learn and grow and be the best they could be every single day, growing at the Growth Day event in Austin, Texas with Brendan Bouchard.
Oh my gosh, that was so amazing. And I'm so glad that we just happened to sit down next to each other at lunch that day and got to chatting. You never know the connections that you can form.
No.
I'm so glad that I got to meet you then.
Absolutely. Me as well. And that just proves listen, it's always get out of your comfort zone. Because when you do, everything's on that other side. Always and every. And I got on that plane and went to Texas, and I get nervous sometimes in large group settings. I'm a people person. You wouldn't believe it. I can work a room networking wise like no one else, but it's those intimate large spaces. Like it's a thing. But I was so happy to go. And I know everyone I talked to, and yeah, we got in small groups, but it was random. But nothing's random. So share about your family. Who are you, Michelle? And where do you come from? Are you from Colorado originally? Share about your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in a small town in South Carolina, right on the border of Georgia. I come from a family. I'm one of 4 kids. I'm the second oldest child. So I'm the oldest daughter and also a middle child. So there's like lots of stereotypical energy that comes with those positions in the lineup. My parents are originally from the greater Pittsburgh area, and they relocated to South Carolina in the 80s. And so that's where my siblings and I all grew up. And you didn't really know that it was a super small town when you're living in it. When I went off to college at Clemson University, go Tigers, I thought that I graduated with a large class, which was maybe 260 people. And then I met other people who said, nope, I graduated with 1,200. And I thought that is the size of my entire school. So it was really lovely. I really enjoyed growing up there. But once I left Clemson University, I never went back to South Carolina. So I've not lived there since my early 20s. I graduated college in 2009 when, things were a little unstable, we'll say, in the financial world. And so I saw an opportunity to go work at Walt Disney World as part of their college program.
It's its own little world over there. I love that.
It really is. Yeah. And it's always interesting. This is one of the things that I learned at the conference that we met at was you can always connect the dots looking backwards. So why can't you believe that they're also connecting forwards?
I love that. Can you repeat that again? Because that's
absolutely
a mic drop moment right there. Yes.
We can always see that the dots are connecting when we look into our past, when we look backwards.
Absolutely.
So why can't we believe that they're also connecting for us in the future? And they do. I just got a little bit of chills.
Yeah, me too.
You were saying earlier, like, it's not random. Things aren't a coincidence. There were a lot of different things that could have kept me from going to the college program. I ended up even changing my date to start a month earlier. And would you believe that the second day I met my now husband of 12 years? It was just such a powerful moment. And I just think if I would have come a month later, I never would have met him. And we just celebrated our 12-year wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary. That's
Thank
beautiful.
you.
That we sat at that table and chatted. Now this was
Yes.
Disney in Orlando. I can't remember if it was Orlando.
In Orlando.
My dad, I've been going there since a kid. It is a magical place for sure. I love that.
Yes.
I'm just sitting on the connecting the dots because, like you, entrepreneurs, authors, creators, you're in a space by yourself a lot and you're in your head a lot. And that old self to the new self, I'm constantly having chats. Yes, things work out. If you look back, you just have to look back in a good way to remind yourself how it did all work out.
Yes, I have an almost 12-year-old border collie mix who actually got in its first altercation with a raccoon last night in our backyard. He was fine. He's totally fine. Got him a little rabies booster and all is well. But it was a bit, like you said, I'll do anything for my animal. I love that dog.
Mama, doggy mamas, oh my gosh. No, we love that raccoon would be in trouble.
My goodness gracious. All is well.
So you end up at Walt Disney World. You must have met so many amazing people from all over the world.
Did. And honestly, when I went to work at Disney World, it exploded my worldview and my perspective about life and people and places, because I grew up in South Carolina in a small town. I went to school in a small town for college. And when I went to Disney World, you've been going there for years. You meet everybody.
Yes.
From everywhere.
Every country. Almost
every country. Yeah. And it was truly such an amazing experience. I did the college program and then I stuck around for about another year and a half doing various things, working for Festival Disney, which was middle and high school band and choir competition. So we oversaw all of the event execution and coordination for that. I worked for Disney's FairyTale Weddings was the last thing I did before leaving Florida.
Exciting. It's like we have so many people here in Florida that just love Disney. They are Disney people. Okay. That's the people. That's the tribes. You're Disney. Oh my God. To make people's dreams come true like that and plan such a beautiful event for them.
It was really special. Yeah. And that really launched me into, I always say, my first career, which was in special events and weddings.
So how long were you there?
I worked at Disney World from 2009 to 2011.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah.
And then your husband, you met your hubby there and the relationship's forming. And it's such a magical place. Yeah. So what happened? Like what was your next stepping stone in life? Your transition, next one?
So we met at Disney World and we stayed in Florida together for about 2 years. And then my husband got an opportunity to go back to work in Indianapolis, where he's originally from. And I had a decision. We had been together about a year and a half at that point. So I had a decision to make. I was really picking up steam in the Disney's FairyTale Weddings team. And I was doing really good work. And so I had to choose between, do I continue with this work or do I move with this guy who I knew I was in love with within the first week of knowing him? Wow. I knew that deeply. And so I ultimately chose to go to Indianapolis, where we lived for about...
Your intuitiveness, too. You were listening to your heart, which is critical. Yeah. And a career is one thing, but I don't know. I think your heart and your intuition and love trumps, right?
Totally agree. And I see that now. We'll say early 20s, Michelle wasn't as clear on that perspective, but definitely now very clear on that.
That's a scary move regardless. Wow, what a big decision. And so you jumped. You jumped in faith.
We did. We jumped again.
Took a journey.
Stayed there for about 2.5 years. And then we said, we're done here. Where next? Chose Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, how pretty.
Jumped there for about 8 years. And now we're out in the suburbs of Denver, Colorado, which we also jumped to. So I know I skipped over a few things there, which we can get into.
What did you guys do when you got to Charlotte? So the job opportunity that your husband was offered, did that work out? And he learned some things?
It did.
Oh, my goodness.
It was. This is his kind of second stint. So he worked there for a couple of years and then left for a few years and went back. And so when we were in Charlotte, my husband was working remotely this whole time. So when COVID hit, nothing really changed for him except the fact that I was now home all the time. And we had to figure out our new routine.
And figure out a new routine in each other's presence in a different way.
Yeah, we did. And so when we were in Charlotte for about the first half of maybe the first 4 years, I was still in the special events industry. So I worked at a modern art museum called Mint Museum in Charlotte, and I ran the special events department. We did well over $1 million in revenue in our events department every year for galas and bar and bat mitzvahs and proms, weddings, basically anything you need an event space for. We held that event space.
Love art. I don't know if you can see the pictures behind me, but I collect
They're
them.
beautiful.
We just love art. We love history stories. How wonderful of an environment. Look at you, Michelle. You went from the magical Disney. Look at the opportunities the universe has hooked up for you. Isn't that
amazing?
And then you went to this worldwide known organization and you developed your skill set there and became very much accepted and important on the team. And now you're in an art world. How fascinating. The creative world around you.
It really was. And I learned a lot about different artists and different mediums and things while I was there. It was one of my favorite things to do was to go walk through the glass collection on a break, or when I needed to just kind of clear my head a little bit, I could just stroll these galleries.
Yes. Oh my gosh,
that's
that fed your heart.
Amazing.
I can imagine. That is beautiful. Oh my goodness gracious. So how big of a team worked with you at the museum?
At the museum, we had full-time 3 of us.
And you handled all of that. I'm telling you, there's such power in small teams at times. And that speaks to the art of collaboration, right? And communication.
Mm-hmm. So that was our main events team. When I came into the department and took it over, there was a lot of unnecessary people around, we'll say. So when I came in, I really streamlined it to where my team was the sales team and also the day of event. We were there for the actual events instead of hiring people out to do that, which really helped us form a much deeper connection because, I mean, we all know weddings, there's a lot of pressure on a wedding.
Yes. I have some experience with events, and the planning process takes months. And then the day of the event, there's so many details. We have project lists. You have a whole plan you're following. But the fact that you were in on it at the beginning and throughout the process, you got to know the people you're working with. So a relationship adds to the success of what you were doing. That you were there on the ground that day. There's a lot of details. And the fact that your relationship part was involved is key.
And it helps build that level of trust.
Yes.
People want to know they can trust you to handle small fires if they come up without bothering them on their big day. And so as I'm kind of sharing my story, I'm realizing I have a pattern, which is about every 3 to 4 years, I just need to take another giant leap. So after about 3 to 4 years at the art museum, I wanted a life. All events happen on the weekends. So I wanted a life again. And I thought, you know what? The most obvious next choice is to go into technology. So I went into the tech industry.
Gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So first off, we learned from Brendan Bouchard that ascension, we're all created to want and desire to constantly grow and be. So you're doing this naturally and you didn't even realize that you're doing what you're meant to do.
I worked for a software development boot camp. So where people are changing their careers, they come to this program, which is about 12 to 24 weeks. They go to school essentially full time to learn a specific developer language. And I managed the campus. So I managed the instructors and all of the students and the whole process. And that still to this day was one of my absolute favorite jobs. Unfortunately, the majority investor in this startup chose to shut us down.
What were some of the pieces that made it your favorite place at that time?
You know, I'm not sure if I would have said these specific words if you asked me a while ago, but reflecting on it, my favorite part about it was these were people who were making a decision to change their life. They were not wallowing in despair or misery and complaining and just staying stuck. They decided, I can take control. I can take action to change the course of my life and my career, and I'm going to do it. It was just that energy of people from 18. We had students in there who were in their 60s.
Oh my gosh.
It was just being around that type of energy where people were like, no, I'm going to change my life to make it what I want it to be. And I was like, yes.
Yeah. It speaks to me a lot because I have to be honest. I was a slow learner, and I come from such a background of insecurity, fear, and all that. So that kept me blocked for so long. I didn't even know my true destiny or worth. But then when I started to realize there's stuff in your heart you need to pay attention to, especially if it grows and what the passions are, that's what we're meant to do. And then I overlearned and overprepared. So I get why you valued what you saw in that group because they just did it. If you are feeling stuck or tired, the control's in your realm, right? Everyone has the opportunity to make a really beautiful life for yourself. Yes.
Yeah. There's a clip of Judge Judy talking about if you didn't make it in your 30s, you can make it in your 40s. And then she goes all the way up until your 90s. And it's just such a solid reminder that there's no expiration date on our dreams.
No. And it gets, matter of fact, for me, because I'm a slow bloomer, it blossomed and it grew. The vision grew. I'm 56 years old, Michelle. My first book of the many I have on my list to do just published this past January. And guess I'm at the beginning of my new journey, a new of what it's supposed to be. So yeah, and you and your hubby, wait, we're getting to that. There's more coming. Now is the time. So don't feel sorry for yourself. Like I used to journal and pray and cry and pray and dream and, oh Lord, please, or something, I would write over and over and over the same things. And then it finally dawned on me, well, just try. Just go for it, right?
Yes.
Tell me. So you had to grieve that loss of the favorite little spot, but you learned a lot there and you got huge takeaways, I think, going forward. What happens next?
I definitely got a lot of takeaways. So what happens next is I ended up going to work for a software company still located in Charlotte. And I worked there for about 3.5, close to 4 years. It was a software company that made business management software for breweries and the craft beverage space. While I was there, I built out the entire customer success team. So everyone who works with the customers after they sign up for the software and trains them, coaches them, and helps them implement that software. And I also ended up eventually expanding that team to lead our technical support team and our paid training team. And so I always think back to my time at Disney, where I got the white glove level of guest experience and customer service training. If I think that it should be a law that everyone in America should have to work a frontline customer service role for at least 6 months.
I agree with you. I was a server in a few restaurants. That is solid. That's a good, be a part of every foundation because that can a whole new perspective on life and respect. For a lot of things.
Yeah. You can typically tell the people who have never worked in a customer service or hospitality type role. You can typically tell.
It's probably too,
like you said, it gives you a whole new perspective. And so I reflected a lot back on that time when I was at the software company because my teams were on the front lines, so to speak. When someone had a problem, we were the ones who answered. This was one of those jobs that was really amazing until it was really bad. This is where listening to your podcast and thinking about that name, Junk to Jewels, this was my junk time that I am now seeing uncover into the jewel part of life, but it's all necessary.
It hurts. I can so relate to you. I was in a situation where I grew and learned, and it was awesome. I was developing confidence, creating programs, growing the programs, and then it was just not. And, a lot of reasons. COVID hit at that time. I burnt out. It was a few things all at once, lost a team member, and a whole bunch of things. But really, like you're learning, it was my time. That's where I took the leap and did the nonprofit and got serious on my book and all the things. You got it. I don't regret it. You got it. So that junk hurt. I cried a lot. I really have it now that it does morph into the jewels. That it's the only way that you got, like it seemed.
Yeah. And, during that time, there were, I won't air all of my dirty laundry here on your podcast, but I I experienced a variety of things, and it was always from the leadership above me. So I was a part of the overall leadership team at the company, but the top leadership really struggled to keep the human element and the employee element first and foremost in their sight. And for me, I always put my team first. It was always the team first, because if the team is happy and fulfilled, they will deliver a good product, good service, and then the customer will be happy. So I always perceive it. And I showed up I had started getting into personal development a little bit during this stage. And I had read the book Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. It was a big unlock for me. And I decided to get brave and courageous and show up to a leadership meeting at this company with vulnerability. And I was told that I was not emotionally stable enough to be a part of the leadership team.
Wow. Environment. But
it was just...
I'm very emotional. I think sometimes that helps me and hurts me, because in those environments, Georgette's the emotional one. And they don't value that, but they should, because it is the heart side of what that company or corporation is doing. Wow, good for you and your courage.
It was tough. And that was kind of the beginning, we'll say, of the end of kind of my final 18 months there. And I really tried to bring a lot to it. My boss told me that my imposter syndrome would be the reason I failed as a leader, and then just ended the meeting. And I thought, oh, okay, no further coaching, no further questions. Ooh. So that was really tough. And I'm always very open about the fact that I've gone kind of in and out of therapy for a variety of reasons. And I think therapy is a fantastic tool for a lot of people. And I hired a therapist, and I said, within 6 months, I want to quit this job. I am hiring you because I can't hold myself accountable to it.
Wow.
And it was so great. And then
you didn't do it suddenly on an emotion. You knew you had to leave, but you needed help to walk it through and work through your thoughts and process. What a brave thing. That's brave and that's powerful. Excellent. I applaud you on that.
Thank you.
Counseling in my book too. That's one of the community counseling. Anytime it's needed, just pick up the phone and reach out to someone. There is no shame in that. We all need help at some point in time. So
absolutely. Because I had learned some of my patterns by that point, which was I got into a pit of despair in that stuck place. And at this time, I didn't have the tools or the mindset to really know I could change it. So I needed somebody else. But then I would get something super shiny and everything would be fine for a while. And I would go through this vicious cycle. But after I had been working for this therapist for a few months, I had a really horrible week at work. It was a really long week. I actually had COVID during the time. I didn't even know it yet. And I was crying on the stairs night after night. And my husband was like, I want to help you, but you can't keep doing this. We have to do something. And my next call with my therapist, this was a massive turning moment for me, where I was complaining. I was totally in a victim mindset. It was everybody else's fault besides mine. And she said, okay, I hear you. Now I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to take everybody else out of it. Absolutely nobody else matters. And for person with people-pleasing tendencies, that was pretty hard. She said, take everybody else out. What do you want to do? And I said, I would leave tomorrow. Paused, and she just gave me that knowing look that those really good counselors and therapists do. And 3 days later, I put in my notice.
Oh my goodness. That's so amazing.
There's that 3 to 4 year time frame again, where I just knew I didn't know what I was going to do next, but it couldn't be this any longer.
Yes.
In the same breath that I told my husband, I'm putting in my notice, we said, we're moving to Colorado. And in 3 months, I was out of the job, and we were on our way west to move to Colorado.
I love it.
4 years ago.
Do you know, sometimes you're supposed to go, if you're not feeling peace or joy, and you are feeling the unsettling and grief and sorrow, there comes a point where you need to think about the other side of it and what else could you do, and then say yes to that. Mm-hmm. Because in my situation, when it was getting really, really bad, my husband actually retired from law enforcement after 30 years. A year went by. I think he knew right away that he was being led to real estate. It was random, but he still wanted to be a purpose, and we have a nonprofit that we needed to support somehow. But he said no for a year, went golfing and just loved golfing. And then finally it got so uncomfortable for him. He's like, okay, I think I got to go do this real estate thing. So he did it. And then a year later, my situation's getting really, really, and he's like, why don't you join me? And I was like, listen, I work full time. I'm working on the book. I'm trying to do a podcast, nonprofit. I don't have time. And of course, it got worse. The whole year, it went really bad. And then he's like, comes back in my office, and now he's more professional in what he's doing. Because he had to acclimate to the new thing. And then he's like, you would have free time. I'll be the main person on this side. You can work on that book. And I'm like, free time? Work on the book? I said, yes. I turned in my resignation letter. I did that for a long time. And I'm like, I just have to persevere, or I was waiting for an obvious another door to open. And sometimes that's not going to happen. Like your situation, you guys uprooted, but you knew right away. You had such great peace and clarity. You didn't know the what's, but you knew what you were doing.
Yes, absolutely. I love it out here.
See, now you guys found the place. I think place is critical. I think place is part of who we are and what brings joy to our hearts. I know there's some research out there on it, because I know some like us, we're ocean people. Some people are mountains,
That's me.
Yeah, see, and then you're not as happy. Like you're not the same in other locations. So I find that fascinating. But anyhow, so you're in Colorado.
Yeah.
So what happened when you got there? So what happens next?
So we got to Colorado, and I left that job with no intention on finding another job right away. My husband and I had planned really well in our past years. We're debt free. We had lots of savings built. So I'm very thankful to 29 Michelle and Danny when we chose to intentionally become debt free in 2 years. We were thankful to our past selves for seeing that opportunity and then continuing to build up our savings. So I didn't need to go back to work right away, which was really a blessing, and we're very grateful for it. And it was also because we chose to put ourselves in that position. So it was really great. And, a couple other ups and downs happened when we moved out here, but I kind of came to this point where I still wasn't happy. I needed to do something. And that's when my own really intentional personal growth journey started about 4 years ago, where I was thinking, what can I do? I don't want to go work for anybody again. And through the influence of my husband's coach at the time, kind of third person getting around to me, it was suggested, well, why doesn't she become a coach? And as I thought and reflected on it more, here's the dots connecting backwards again. I was coaching for years. I just didn't have that language. I was helping my team become better communicators, more empathetic, their professional goals, their personal goals, all of these things. And so I just had not put it in that container of coaching. And that fall, September of 2021, is when I started this whole coaching journey. And I'm here 4 years in, and it's been entrepreneurial journeys. They are full of ups and downs.
Life's going to have hardship. I call it, there's bittersweet mixed blessings always. Like I learned that in my blended family journey. Like there's mixed blessings, and it's mixed, it's intertwined. And that's a part of life and what makes things so beautiful. The rose and the thorns, they're surrounded by the thorns. There's beauty. There's such beauty in the mix. But you learn so much, and your aha moment. I love how that aha moment just happened. Wow. Yeah, it comes, and the dots are connecting. I call it season changes, where, I remember I was praying about it, and I got the impression it was called strategic assignments, because overall we have a heart and soul, and we have a purpose. And sometimes you need training. And how does training happen? Yeah, through books, podcasts, meeting people, but it's situations and circumstances and reacting to those circumstances, and people. And then I'm the same. I had a few different things along the way, but hindsight says, oh my gosh, it brought me all, it was a zigzag, but it brought me all to where who I am now. And every one of it was crucial. So they're saying with your journey, all those different teams you were on, and the Walt Disney World magic, and that is a part of what you're doing now. You're bringing it all to the table. It is ups and downs, and it's okay, because it's rewarding and satisfying, right? You're doing your heart purpose. Oh, so many people.
Yeah. And whenever I'm asked the question, what would you change about, your past or your journey? I'm like, absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
The hardest times, nope, I wouldn't change a single thing because everything that you just said, it is all part of the journey.
Yes, it is part of the journey. You can't wish anything away. What you do now, your hindsight, is you glean from it. You reflect on your past. You don't stay stuck there. It's got nuggets of truth and wisdom. Pull that forward to your next dot coming. And like you trust the dots. They will connect at some point. Trust with you. So the coaching's going well. You're developing that arena.
Yes. Coaching is such a rewarding and fulfilling business and kind of career path to choose. And it's really great. I work with a lot of women entrepreneurs who have been really successful, but they've kind of reached this crossroads where they could keep going down the super successful but unfulfilled. They can take that leap to something that's more exciting, more fulfilling in the same arena. And so that's where I come in and I meet them there at that crossroads. And then I help them decide. And then I gently push them. This is where my tough love comes in, where I'm very much, part. And it is in love. The human experience can be tough. And I understand that. Also,
it's hard to jump.
But I will not let you be the one that stands in your own way. I just won't do it.
Sure. There's so much on the line. When people don't do their thing, the rest of us suffer. Because maybe it's you stepping out and doing your thing made a difference for me. Life and death sometimes, I've heard that.
Everybody listening has a beautiful gift and a purpose. Yes. And maybe they don't know it yet. And that's just keep pulling on that thread and keep digging. But everybody has a gift that other people need. And if we don't tap into that gift, we are keeping it away from people who need it.
So now your husband, you guys are starting to join up?
We are. So we do leadership training engagements together, which is so fun. I love the people management aspect of leadership, maybe because I had such challenging experiences with it. I really love to help people elevate their level of influence, become better communicators, really understand how to give critical feedback and praise and set goals and all of those really amazing things. So my husband and I do that together. And we've also started speaking on stage together about similar topics in leadership and in personal development, which is another new journey that we're starting together. And it's really rewarding and fun.
I love hearing you do this because my husband and I, as we've talked in the past, you and I, we're on similar paths where doors seem to open that people resonate with both of us. We help people in the past together, and it was we're together. It's better together, the way we work off each other. So I'm excited to see what you do with yours because you're encouraging me. I'm watching you now. So yeah, you're ahead on the path for that. He was in charge of so many departments and he just loved the coach. He loved the people part better. He said, that's what I miss the most about my career. It was the people and the relationship building and creating leaders, developing the leaders, not creating. It's already in them. They just need that development. Yeah. I'm so excited for you and your husband. I'm so excited for you that you guys did this together. Now you have a book.
I do.
Tell us about your book and then wrap up a bit here. So yeah.
That sounds great. So I decided through a lot of influence and through the support and the communities that we build, I decided to write an activity book that was inspired by my summit experience of Mount Kilimanjaro, which is in Tanzania in Africa. And I did that in February of 2024. And in the fall of 2024, I really wanted to start writing books, but it's tough work. And I decided to start with an activity book. So my activity book is called Stop Doom Scrolling. Get off your phone and get back into your life. For those who don't know what doom scrolling is, it's essentially when you're consuming primarily negative, whether it's the news or whether it's social media, but you get sucked into this negative tornado of information, more information than we were ever programmed to receive in a lifetime. It can put you in a dark place, in a negative place, an angry place. And so the whole kind of purpose of the Stop Doom Scrolling activity book is one, it's full of puzzles, coloring pages, word search, crosswords. So there's lots of those fun things, but there's also personal growth activities and journal prompts. So it's a little bit of, you're going to have fun, but you're going to get to know yourself a little bit better too, at least if you want to dive into that opportunity. A lot of the crosswords are themed after big hiking trails around the world. I love to hike. A lot are themed about Kilimanjaro itself or countries in Africa. And it's just an adventure-filled personal growth puzzle. Yeah, it's on Amazon for anybody that wants it.
So, and here's the thing, this is becoming a thing in our society. People are seeing the phone. Every tool has its blessing and benefit, but it also has the downside. There's light and dark everywhere. And it's up to us to make sure we're choosing as best we can for ourselves. But here's the thing, like your activity versus that book or the phone. Your phone's keeping you locked and limited. And never mind that you're looking down, but your book is opening yourself up and your mind and peace and stillness. And then that gives room for thoughts of new thoughts that you want to do, new ideas, information about who you really are, not a lie. And you're not looking at someone else's life. You get to create your life. And every single one of us have beauty inside us. That means a beautiful life for each of us is available if we look and create. We could do it. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations.
Oh,
people find your book on Amazon?
They can find it on both. So it's definitely available on Amazon. It will certainly ship faster to you if you order from Amazon, but you can also order from me directly on my website.
Excellent. And I'll have that information in the show notes, but it's your name, Michelle Gruening, and .com. And I'll have all of her social media handles so people can follow you right on Instagram,
Absolutely.
Facebook, LinkedIn. I have some questions that I love to ask.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite book?
Oh, gosh. This, as an avid reader, this is such a hard question for me to answer all the time because, of course, I have like 17. But I will share that one of my absolute favorite books is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
I read that one.
Yes. And I love my history with this book because while it's my favorite now, when I first read it in 2017, I wasn't ready for it. I thought it was boring. I didn't get the point. I was not open to the idea of personal responsibility. And then I read it again in 2021 after I left that job. I was on the beginning of my own personal growth journey and I read it again and it landed so deeply.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
It's a good reminder that just because the message isn't necessarily serving you right now doesn't mean that it won't serve you in the future. It's like, don't close yourself off to certain experiences or messages. You might just not be ready for it yet. So just keep leveling up, say The Alchemist.
In my own journey too, I look back at my journals and I repeat a lot, but here's the deal. When a new information comes to me, I'm a communicator. So a lot of what comes to me is through books. Every time my house is full of books, I have my whole bookshelf in my bedroom to read books. Every once in a while, I get like this thing to go dust. Go clean. Random, but then I'm attracted to just a few and they stay out of the pile. There's a word every time. When we have new learnings, it's okay that it's a few times because it builds on it and it's okay. So now, do you have a favorite quote or affirmation? Because I'm big on quotes and affirmation. I love to doubt others.
So my favorite quote is by an author named James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits. And this was in one of his weekly newsletters. Okay. But it says, you were so focused on how much you could carry, you never realized how fast you could run. As someone who prides herself on doing everything at once, that message really hit me because I was in this place where I was trying to do a lot of things in my business, which meant none of them were going deep.
Yeah,
I was weighing myself down with all of these potentials that I never realized how quickly I could move in the direction of my dreams if I dropped the stuff that didn't really matter. So that's my favorite quote. And my favorite affirmation is, this too shall pass. Whether you're in a good moment, if you're in a really positive moment, this too shall pass can remind you to be present and to stay focused. If you're in a really challenging moment, this too shall pass. You've overcome 100% of the challenges you faced in life. So that's one that no matter the moment, I'm like, this too shall pass. Mm-hmm.
My mom loved that one too. So if you could sit down with anyone for a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, whatever your favorite drink beverage is, who would it be, past or present, like just to sit down and chat with them?
So I actually mentioned her earlier. I'm going to say Dr. Brene Brown. She really, I love her personality and her zest and her spicy Southern personality, because I think she's has such a true art and such a gift at bringing in incredible research and putting it into the story format that just always lands. So she's been a big source of inspiration for me throughout life. Dr. Brene Brown, I think we'd have a great time.
I love it. Now, did you have a mentor or someone that made a difference or impact in your life at some point that right now their name's right there, their face?
Absolutely. Lots of them. But the person that comes specifically to my mind was my first ever coach. His name's Mark Keene. And he was the coach for my husband at the time. And my husband was just kind of sharing some of my struggles. And Mark is the one that said, sounds like she'd be a great coach. Has she ever thought about that? And without even knowing me, he could see that. And so I eventually began working with him. He was my coach in a variety of ways. And he really helped me get over a lot of the mind gremlins and the head trash that you can as a new entrepreneur. He's one of many that are coming to mind right now, but I would definitely say Mark.
Oh my gosh, thank you. That's why I love mentoring. I had a HR manager, human resource manager. She was like one of the female leaders. I was a newbie in this corporate youngin', and I was reading Tom Peters' In Search of Excellence. I always wanted to develop, always wanted to be excellent. But she took me under her wing and taught me, go ask some managers, I'm in customer service, go ask them out to lunch and learn from them of how you could get in their department, what did they do to become a manager. So she taught me, but look at that, mentoring and coaching. Listen, doing a journey with someone else alongside you, cheering you on, because not everyone has the luxury of healthy people speaking life into them on a daily basis. So sometimes, guess what? You got to connect with someone else to do that for you. And what you're doing in that role is powerful. And I love that this person saw it. And that's what you're doing as a coach too. You're helping people see things they don't see yet. Isn't that great?
Oh, it is. It's so amazing.
So that's probably this will be my last question. What would you say to your younger self or someone else at a similar part of your journey that they're in right now? What would you say?
I think a lot of it is going to come back to being present. So I shared my affirmation that this too shall pass. I think whether you're, a younger person just wanting to get to adulthood, and then you get to adulthood and you're like, oh no, how do I go back to recess? I think one of the things that I would tell people either in this situation or a younger situation is stop wishing away the present in hopes to get to the future faster.
Yes.
Because this moment, this is life. This is it. This is where the magic is.
And it never happens again, this moment. This is it.
You're like, away.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
So.
I love that. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for joining us. And I want to encourage everyone to get that book, Stop Doom Scrolling. I love that. And get Junked Jewels and stop doom scrolling. Please support the authors. But you know what? Each of our books will speak to the hearts in the ways that they should. I'm so thrilled that you joined us today. And I wish you the very best. You and your hubby say hi to
I will.
And thank you so much. And you guys, thank you for watching and listening today out there, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate you. Subscribe, follow the show, share it with your friends, share it with someone you know that needs to hear what Michelle had to say today. Thank you so much, everyone. Be blessed. Have a beautiful day.